Today we are going to unbox and set up the Smart Hydroponics Kit from Forward Education. The Smart Hydroponics Kit is a microbit-powered growing system that comes with all of the various robotic components and sensors that you need to build out a hydroponics growing system, and it is all coded and controlled by the microbit. We are going to unbox everything that is included in your Smart Hydroponics Kit, and then we are going to go through what each component is as we start to build our growing system. This is everything that is included in your Smart Hydroponics Kit. First off, we have the various components that are going to make up the structure of our hydroponics growing system. We have the reservoir, which is going to contain the water. It also has a top tray, which is where we are going to insert our various different growing pods. We have various components that we will use to attach the LED light bar. So we have the two side arms and then the mounts, which we will attach our light to hold it over top of the growing reservoir. These 4 pegs will mount underneath of our top tray that will allow us to take the top tray out and set it down for easy cleaning inside of the reservoir. Your kit will also come with a set of black growing sticks. These are optional, but they are nice to use. Once your plant starts to get a little tall, you can insert the growing sticks to securely attach your plant to so it can grow vertically. Next up, we have our various robotic components. These are all of the motors, sensors, and lights that will be used to do the actual growing in our system and monitor the growing. So first up, we have our light bar. This is what we are going to mount over top of our growing reservoir to provide LED light to our plants. We have our breakout board. The breakout board is going to act as the hub for all of our various different robotic components. So each one of these robotic components will get connected to the breakout board. The breakout board is also where we're going to insert the microbit, and the microbit is going to act as the brain of our growing system to tell all of the various different components what to do. The breakout board does contain a battery of its own, so it is able to power the various different robotic components in the kit, the various different sensors and motors. But when it comes to our LED grow light, we do have a separate wall outlet that will be required to provide enough power for the grow light in the system. This is our pH module. It gets connected to our pH sensor. The pH sensor is used to take pH readings of the water inside the reservoir. This is our light module. This module gets connected directly to our LED light so the microbit in the breakout board can communicate with the grow light. This is our float module. Our float module gets connected to our float sensor, which has a little device that will be able to tell us when the water level is up or down in the growing reservoir. This is our water pump. The water pump will get attached to the growing system, and then it can be used to circulate water within the reservoir or pump new fresh water into the growing system. The water pump will also come with tubing, and that tubing can then be used to place inside of the water source, and then the other tube gets inserted into wherever you are hoping to pump the water into. The water pump will also come with a silicone strap that can be used to attach the water pump to the side of the growing system. To attach all of our robotic components to the breakout board, we have cables. These cables are reversible and they will work with any of the various robotic sensor components. Next up, we have our actual growing pods. These growing pods are what we're going to place our seeds into that will make contact with the water in the hydroponic system and where our plants will grow. So we have the baskets that will contain the growing pods, and then we have a set of actual growing pods that will come with the kits. Those growing pods are not reusable, but they come with enough for you to get started. They are very inexpensive and easy to repurchase. The growing pods will also come with a set of clear plastic domes. You'll want to use these when you are starting to incubate the seeds before they sprout. The rest of the additional pieces included in the Smart Hydroponics Kit include the various different screws and washers to mount the system together. We have a USB cord for charging the breakout board. We have a base plate, which is what we are going to use to attach all of our various robotic components onto on our growing system. And then we have pH buffer powder. This buffer powder is going to be used to calibrate your pH sensor. Let's get started assembling our hydroponics unit. To start, we're going to grab the reservoir, and then we're going to locate these 2 arms, which are going to hold our LED lights. You will also want to locate the 6 small pointy screws, and you will need a Phillips screwdriver. We're going to start by removing this top tray and setting it aside. Then we're going to place the hydroponics reservoir on its side so we can access the spots on the bottom where we need to screw in the arms. We'll start by taking one arm and placing it into the slot on the bottom of the hydroponics tank. Taking one of our screws, we'll just line up the holes and screw it in. And then we will repeat that process for the other 2 holes on this side. We got one side done, we're going to repeat that process on the other. So we have our 2 arms attached. Now we are ready to get our top tray ready for the growing system. We'll set the reservoir aside. Then we are going to locate the 4 white pegs, and then we'll flip our top tray over. You are going to insert 1 peg on each one of the little posts on the underside of our growing tray. These little pegs will make it so when we flip our growing tray over, we can set it on the table and off to the side without disturbing the plant pods that will be inserted in the tray. Now that that tray is all set up, we're ready to bring back our growing reservoir. We can pop the tray inside, just like so. Next up, we are going to attach our LED light bar. So you're going to need to locate the light bar itself, the 2 mounts, and then we will also need a set of 4 screws. We will first start by mounting the brackets to the light bar itself, and then we'll put that whole thing on the growing system. So I have my 4 screws here. These are the blunt end screws. I have my Phillips screwdriver. All we need to do is line up the holes in the bracket with the holes in the light bar. And we'll repeat that same process for the other side of the light bar. Now we are going to mount the light bar onto our hydroponics growing system. So we'll bring back our reservoir. We'll need to locate the set of screws and washers that we're going to use to mount them on the side arms here. So from our screw packet, we're going to locate the 4 bolts, 4 thumb screws, and 4 plastic washers. When it comes to mounting our light bar, you may want to grab a friend, as an extra set of hands can be helpful here. But if you're doing this on your own, this is how I like to do it. We are going to start by getting 2 of our thumb screws ready on this side, 2 washers, and 2 bolts. It is easiest to mount one side of the light bar first and then the other. So to do this, I find it easiest to set the light bar down first. We will start by getting our bolts ready. So we'll insert 1 bolt into the channel on the side arm, hold it in place with 1 finger, and then we're going to insert another bolt into the channel and hold it in place with the other finger. You'll find that there is a little square shape on the ends of the bolts that will line up with the channel in the arm. Once those are in place, we're going to take a washer and place a washer, 1 on each bolt. Once that is in place, we're again holding that in place with our fingers, both of those bolts. We're going to take our light bar and line up the holes on the light bar bracket with our bolts. From there, you'll want to hold everything in place, pinching that bracket to the side arm. We're going to take 1 thumb screw, insert it onto 1 bolt, tighten it down. Doesn't have to be super tight because we're going to want to adjust it. And then take the other thumb screw and get it in place. Just tight enough so we can let go of the light bar to move on to mounting the other side. To mount our other side, we're going to get our 2 thumb screws ready, our 2 bolts, and our 2 washers. We will insert 1 bolt, hold it in place with a finger, insert the other bolt, line up the square part of the bolt, add a washer, line up those holes in the bracket with the bolts. Then once that's in place, add your thumb screws. Again, don't need to tighten them down all the way, just enough to make sure everything can be held in place. So we have our light bar all mounted now. One of the great things about this light bar is that you are able to adjust the height of the light bar depending on how tall your plants are. So at the beginning of your plant's life cycle, you'll want to lower the bar down so it's close to the plants. And then as your plants grow, you can raise the bar up. So to adjust the height of the light bar, all we need to do is loosen our thumb screws on either side. We can bring that bar down however far we want, and then tighten those thumb screws back in place like so. To finish setting up our hydroponic system, we're going to raise the light bar back up just so it's out of the way. We can always put it back down. The next thing we're going to do is insert our growing pods. They are these little plastic baskets. We will just take 1 and insert 1 into each hole. Your kit will also come with a set of pods. This is the growing medium that will get inserted into these plastic baskets. You can insert them now, but you will need to pre-soak them in water when you are actually ready to put seeds inside. So for now, we're just going to set them aside. The next thing we're going to do is attach our base plate. This base plate is what is going to hold all of our various robotic components to our growing system. So we've located the base plate, and then there's a little bag of another set of thumb screws and a bolt. We're going to take these out and we're going to mount our base plate. You can decide which side of the hydroponic system that you want to mount your base plate to. Again, the base plate is going to hold all of our various robotic components, so you could mount it on this side, you could mount it on this side. What we would suggest, though, is that you make sure to mount it to the outside of the system as opposed to on the inside. Because our base plate is going to be holding electronic components, in the case where the reservoir is open and exposed to water in the bottom, it's a much better idea to have that base plate on the outside just in case anything was to fall off. So we suggest mounting that base plate on the outside. The other thing that you will want to keep in mind is the height of your light bar when you go to mount your base plate. To mount our base plate, we're going to shift our unit to the side here. We are going to locate a pair of our thumb screws to the bolt side and the nut side and one of the washers. We are going to mount that base plate again to the outside of our hydroponic system. And then we're going to locate the bolt. Now, important here, that bolt will only fit through the largest hole on the base plate. So you'll want to make sure that you line up one of the bolts near the top of the base plate. So we've inserted that bolt. Then what we're going to do is insert that washer in between the base plate and that side arm. And then we will take that nut side of the thumb screw and screw it in place. We will repeat the same process for the bottom of the base plate. So inserting that thumb screw, adding that washer in between, and then screwing the nut part in place. One really important thing you will want to make sure of when assembling your hydroponics unit is the alignment of the LED bar, the base plate for all your robotic components, and the growing tray itself. You will want your LED with the cable side sticking out to be on the same side as your base plate. The reason is this cord for your LED is going to need to plug into our LED module that will get attached to the base plate. Same with the float sensor, the water pump, and anything else that you use in the reservoir of the hydroponic system. You will want to make sure that those cords are close enough to the base plate so they can be attached to the breakout board. If you happen to notice that your tray has the water reservoir hole and the float sensor hole on the wrong side as your base plate, you can just take out the tray, flip it around, and then insert it in the right direction. So just make sure that you're mounting that LED bar with the cable sticking out on the same side of the growing system that you put the base plate. If you want to get a head start on attaching some of these components right now while you're setting up your system, you'll want to start by locating the breakout board, which looks like this. We are going to attach that breakout board somewhere on our base plate, wherever you think it will fit best. That is going to be the hub where we attach our microbit. Then we can start by attaching our LED module, which looks like this, the light component. We'll want to attach that light module somewhere near the top of our breakout board so we can attach that cable from the LED light bar. And that cable can only get inserted one way. So you'll want to make sure that the little clip on the end of that cable is facing out. So when you insert it, you hear it click in place. From here, you'll want to locate the wall outlet for your LED light bar. That plug will get plugged into the other port on our light module, and then this plug will get plugged into your wall outlet. The breakout board battery is not enough power to power the whole hydroponic system. That's why our light bar has a separate power source. The next thing you may want to hook up is your float sensor. So to do that, we're going to locate the float sensor, the float module, and then we'll also locate the two plastic washers that are included in your kit. We are going to take out the tray for our hydroponic system. To attach our float sensor, we're going to first start by unscrewing the plastic bolt at the top of the float sensor component. You can take that completely off of the cord. Then grab one of the plastic washers and insert that on the cable for the float sensor. We'll put that in place on top of the float sensor. Then we will take that cable from the float sensor and insert it from the bottom of the tray through the hole. Line up that float sensor with that hole. Take the second washer, insert it on the cable, let it fall down into place. It will insert perfectly into that hole. And then we will take that plastic bolt again, put it back on the cable, making sure it's on the right way, and then screw it into place on the float sensor. This assembly will hold that float sensor in place inside of our reservoir. Just needs to be thumb tight. Once that's in place, we can insert our hydroponics tray back into the reservoir. We will then locate our float sensor component. We can plug in the JST connector at the top of the float sensor component, making sure it's pushed all the way in. Then we will attach that float sensor component somewhere on our base plate assembly. The next component that you may want to attach right now is the water pump. So to attach the water pump, we're going to uncoil these cables and we're going to locate the silicone strap. The silicone strap is going to wrap around our water pump and then wrap around the arm of the side of the hydroponics unit. We'll insert that silicone strap and then pull it tight so it mounts nicely on the side of the arm. The water pump has a special port on the breakup board where you will need to line up the positive and negative side of the cable. So the black side is the negative and the red side is the positive. We will insert that DuPont connector into the designated port on the breakup board like so. You'll want to then locate your water tubing. If it comes with one piece, you may need to cut that water tubing down to size. So in this case, we need 2 pieces of water tubing, one tube that is going to go into the reservoir, and then the other tube that's going to go into the water source. So for the water reservoir, we can attach one side of the tubing onto one of the holes on our pump. You'll notice that the holes are located in and out, so we'll want to make sure that the one going into the reservoir is connected to the out port on the pump. From here, we are going to snip our tube down to size, like so, and then we can insert that out tube into the reservoir. We'll then take our other piece of tube, we will attach it to the in port on the pump, and then once we have a water source, we will take that tube and place it inside of the water source. The last robotic component is our pH module and our pH sensor. These require calibration, so there will be a separate tutorial on calibrating and hooking these up to our hydroponic system. Now that you have all of the various robotic components and your structure built for your hydroponics growing system, you are ready to move on to the next step, which is coding and programming each one of the robotic components to tell it what to do in your growing system. To do this, you will want to locate your microbit. The microbit is going to act as the brain of your entire growing system. This is where you will load your project code onto to tell the rest of the components in the system what to do. To get started, you can start by inserting your microbit into the breakup board. You can turn the breakup board on. Then you will want to locate your micro USB cable. Your micro USB cable will insert into the microbit on one side, like so. The other side you will want to insert into your laptop. Then you will be able to see a live simulator of what's happening with all of the various components in our hydroponics growing system. You will be able to assign code to each one of the components and take your readouts from the various pH sensors and float sensors from there. The very last step in your growing system is going to be to actually plant your plants. To do this, you will want to locate your little growing pods, which is the soil medium that you'll be growing your seeds in. You will want to soak these in a bowl of water for about 5 to 10 minutes until they can absorb enough moisture. Once they are full of water, you're going to insert those pods into the little baskets in the hydroponics growing system. From there, you can insert a seed into each one of the little holes. You can locate the plastic domes that come with your hydroponic growing system, and you can place one of the domes on top of each one of the growing baskets. Now, when seeds are first germinating, they will want complete darkness, so you'll want to make sure to have your growing system away from light or have it programmed so your growing light is not on while the seeds are germinating. Once your plants do start to sprout, that is when you will want to start triggering your light cycles. Another really important tip when it comes to the hydroponic system is the distance of the light matters. So right now, when we assembled our hydroponics unit, we placed the light bar at the very top of our system to allow us space to get everything set up and to attach our breakup board and robotic components. However, when your plants start to sprout, they are going to need a lot of light. So you will want to move your light bar down so the light is closer to the plants themselves. To do this, we will need to do some adjusting to the arms and the bolts on the sides of our hydroponic system, as well as reposition our base plate. You will first want to unscrew the bolts from the base plate. Now be careful here because you may still have wires attached. You might need to unplug some of the components just momentarily. We will set our base plate down with the breakout board. From here, we will be able to loosen those bolts on our light bar. We will slide the light bar down. To start, our plants are going to be sprouting really small, so we'll move that light bar all the way down to the bottom. We'll retighten those thumb screws like so. Then we will reposition the base plate onto the top of the rail, and we will reconnect any components that we might have moved. Now our plants will be getting more light because they are much closer to the light source. As the plants grow and get taller, you may choose to reposition the light bar again, somewhere halfway in between. Again, you may need to remove the breakout board, and then eventually when your plants are tall enough, you'll want to move that light bar all the way to the top of our growing system again. And that is everything on how we set up and unbox the Smart Hydroponics Kit. For more information, including tutorials and step-by-step instructions on how we actually program the various robotic components, including taking pH readings, setting up the water pumps, creating the light cycles, you can refer to our project and tutorials on the learning platform.